In today's video, I want to talk about some things I've been having a lot of fun with. A little PSA of how certain perks and some weapons are performing now. I think that they're doing great. You can try them if you'd like. Some things are working way better than they've ever worked. There are some reasons for that. I've had great games. I also want to show you how certain perks work. I need you to understand the perk trigger, what that entails. Some of them are a lot more simple than you think and a lot easier to get going than you think. And for some of them, there are some things you can do to make it easier. I have a lot of gameplay in the background, various weapons. And as I go through this list, in some instances, I will talk about a specific weapon. You're going to know when that happens. I'll call it out. Otherwise, it's about a perk. There's going to be a wide range of weapons that have the perk in the background footage. When the sandbox change happened, you don't really know until it all unfolds. A big reason why I wanted to make this video is because what I found, again, the perks are working really good, but it's because how the sandbox is playing. With those changes, there's more primary play, there's less special, less abilities. And that's allowed some perk options to do pretty good. Because when you play, sometimes I stop and take notice. All games are different, but a lot of the time, like right here, sometimes it's very team shot centered. A lot of people are grouped up, and a lot of times people just play it safe, they peek shot. And sometimes there's a lot of aggression, a lot of movement, a lot of flying around. It's all kind of in there, but for the most part, a lot of players are playing to their primary weapons because special is earned through primary play. It needs to happen. So we have more primary play, more focus on critical hits. And to top it off, the abilities don't hurt as much. Though threadlings have been nerfed, I can take 4 of them, no problem. Just not worry about it. Keep focusing on what I'm focusing on. You don't really have to worry about it as much because they gave us plus 30 health. 30 extra health. And this is the results that you get when you get 30 extra health. But it's not just the threadlings. Hit by a melee charge, a grenade. A lot of the times it does not clean you up. You survive, and in the earlier sandbox, it would take you out. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It's true, though. The ability final blows have gone down. So I realized that, looked at the sandbox, see how people are playing. I wanted to try some things, and I want to show you them because they've been very effective. The first up, symmetry. Dude, this thing is running on all cylinders. It's been very impressive. In this more primary-focused sandbox, symmetry's exotic perk trigger is off of precision hits. Build up a dynamic charge, you swap over to Arc Seeker mode, you get increased damage. It partially reloads the mag, but you only need 6 charges to be able to 2-tap with that Arc Seeker mode. You can hip fire it, you can aim down sights, just look in the direction of the enemy, it seeks. So in that Arc Seeker mode, it's a 2-tap if you have at least 6 stacks, and it's a 0.5 TTK. And with this weapon, this perk, you just land hits, you don't ever lose charges, you can reload, you can switch weapons, it always stacks in the background. And sure, the higher the charge, the more damage it deals. Like a 20 stack is like 160 damage. That's cool, but you only need 6. You can play normal, get hits, get downs. When you see 6 and above, let it rip. But with how people are playing, like I've had people want to hold a position and I just farm the shots off of them alone. It's funny. And then I can go use the Arc Seeker mode elsewhere or wherever I want. And remember, when you switch over to Arc Seeker mode, the countdown starts once you fire that first shot. So you're not penalized for holding on to it. You don't need to immediately shoot it. And there's been several times where it's seamless. I'll get in gunfights, go in and out of cover. I'll notice that 6 crits were landed. So I'll switch right over to Arc Seeker mode. I'll either 2-tap enemies or I'll clean up. Symmetry's been doing very well in this sandbox. I encourage you to give it a try. It's also pretty fun to use. As far as the flow of this video, I have some perks I want to go over, but let's just go ahead and get the actual weapons out of the way. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can, get through them, and talk about the worth right now in this sandbox, why they're so good. A lot of them have a similar theme. So next is going to be Revision 0. Get used to 4 bursts. You're about to see a lot of blast furnaces because that thing can roll some pretty wild perk combinations. But with what you can do with Revision 0, it's pretty wild too. It's another hit-based weapon. It's hard hitting, it's long range, it's craftable with different perk setups. I have mine with Perpetual Motion for 100 stability, but the exotic perk, again, precision hits grant targeting data. When you have enough, you hold reload, a sniper scope comes up. It's the best of both worlds. You get the effect of a special weapon to get more special ammo. The sniper mode itself, 100% accurate from the hip. It's extremely fun to use. The 4 burst is deadly, sits a lot of people down, and ultimately no one's really ready for you to hit shots with a pulse, then come right back to them with a sniper rifle. And just like Symmetry, it's doing very well right now. It's another weapon that I encourage you to give a shot, because the more lethal you are with your primary game, the more special you're going to get as you go. Next, Hawkmoon. Out of the gate, always been great for dueling, has high aim assist, it feels great. It's the same deal, the hit-based perk. Sometimes you just farm all of your paracausal stacks off of one player. And just in general, you're getting into a lot of primary duels, you're getting those hits. Because in this sandbox, again, that whole theme, like once their special ammo runs out, it is out. They have to get it back. So something like Hawkmoon, Symmetry, Revision 0 so far, not talked about or mentioned, Ace of Spades, shine in this sandbox. They really do. They're solid picks. And this last weapon here, made the list, and honestly, I'm not too sure about it, but I do want to include it, only because I want to bring back up this clip right here, kind of see what's going on. Then, I want to talk about this weapon right here. The Cosmology perk kills this weapon, causes enemy targets to detonate, and they spawn void projectiles that track targets. So, if everyone is grouped up, Graviton Lance might be able to see some play. In the couple games I played with it, it did fine. It duels pretty well. And also with the Catalyst, it has Vorpal Weapon, and you don't really use that too much on anything really in PvP, but it is nice when you do see a super. Now I want to start getting into the perks, and honestly, the perk that started this whole thought process, this whole video, is Frenzy. And I need you to understand the perk trigger for Frenzy, because it's been by far the most effective and surprising perk talked about today. It's what sparked this whole video. And I first noticed it in my Prosecutor review, and in that review, I talked about Frenzy on how great it was feeling. It was one of my favorite perks for it. So in my off time, I tried it on other weapons, and it was just as good and sometimes better. Like that opening clip of Horror's Lease, that's an under pressure Frenzy roll. I ended that game with 55 kills. So in this section in the background, I'm gonna have some different weapons, a lot of Prosecutor, because I mean, that's the meta right now. But with Frenzy, TTK shifts happen with the damage that it deals. Otherwise, it's just an ease of use factor. And I know for sure, historically, Frenzy's always been thought of as a perk that just won't work in the Crucible, or it's not practical, or it takes too long, whatever reason. I'm going to show you and talk about the perk trigger, and it's really simple. Frenzy. Being in combat for an extended period of time increases damage, handling, reload speed until you're out of combat. So those buffs, you get 15% more damage, 100 handling, 100 reload. Altogether, the weapon feels great with Frenzy. Fast, snappy, ease of use, or a TTK shift, but here's how the perk works. I want you to realize the actual time threshold that you really need to make, what you're really shooting for. Stay with me on this visual. I kind of came up with it, and I really hope visually you can understand. For Frenzy, you have two timers that go on in the background. One is the main timer. 12 seconds need to go by. That's this big green bar. And you need to be, quote, in combat for 12 seconds. And being in combat means you need to deal or receive damage within 5 seconds. And where I'm going to end up with this perk, in reality, you only need to be in, quote, combat for about 7 seconds. So we have this main timer, this main bar that we need to fill. The other timer is the 5-second window. And this window resets the moment you shoot something or something hits you. So as an example, shot 1 happens. The window goes up. And let's say about 1.5 seconds goes by, a second. Well, once that shot happens, that window moves down the line. The third shot, say that happens a couple seconds after that. So that's just going to extend it down the line. But that fourth shot, it happens 4 seconds after. So that window moves, you're going to notice that the window extends past the perk trigger threshold. So really, all you're trying to do is make it to 7 seconds and then land a shot. Because when you reset the window a millisecond past 7 seconds, the window extends past 12 and the perk triggers. So here's how that looks in a vacuum, just a random PvE enemy. The perk is started, you hit them, they hit you, time goes by. The bread and butter, the real window of Frenzy is right here. It's been initiated either by you or someone else. As you land that shot and time goes by, this time frame, you're gonna land another shot and that's it. Because the rest of the window is going to decay right into Frenzy. It's really not bad. It's not hard. You just have to know, like, the trick to this perk. And again, that's just a visual vacuum. In reality, remember, when they hit you, that extends the window or starts the window as well. That window just keeps moving down the meter. But in game, this is what I mean. And I think that you're going to see, wow, there really isn't anything to that. This is the start of it. I get into a duel, I get 2 shots off. And even though it's immediate, it's slowly pushing that window up to 12 seconds. I step down, I go to advance, I take 1 bullet, that hits me, okay, that also extends the window. I advance on the enemy, get 2 shots in, and that's it. Because about 4 seconds go by, I hit the 7-second threshold of where I need to be to land a shot, and it rolls over past 12. I have Frenzy. And in real time, looking back at it, it doesn't take much. Like I said, it's performing so much better in the Sandbox. Because the theme of the video, it's more primary play. Players are using primaries. There's not too many snipers, because apparently people don't feel that confident in their snipe shot with how the special ammo economy is. Maybe more on that later. But abilities aren't cleaning you up. They're not taking you out because you have more health. Like that clip earlier with the Threadlings, that's a Frenzy Relentless. I wanted to get hit by those because that's extending my window. It's resetting my timer, because each time I do get hit, in no time, I'm going to get within my 7 seconds to land 1 bullet, and I'm going to have Frenzy, and then I can start going off. And remember, the weapon can be stowed, like right here. Here's a clip of me never even firing a shot. There was an old god there. I'm taking damage from it. We're kind of chilling. and then I get hit with a grenade. But again, the theme, the abilities just aren't taking me out, so I got Frenzy. This scout rifle can 3-tap with Frenzy, and I didn't do anything special aside from knowing what needs to happen for Frenzy, like the knowledge of what needs to happen. And I have so many clips, like with Frenzy, you don't have to be super busy, you don't. Not even super active, and it just happens. Like in the background right here, I have Frenzy on my SMG, it procs in the background, and I'm not doing anything special, but once I do have Frenzy, I start going to work with it. It's by far the most impressive perk. Like, again, I have a ton of footage, but I wanted to show you the perk trigger for the Crucible. It isn't bad, it isn't scary, not at all. A lot of the weapons do have TTK shifts, 450 autos, 180 hand cannons, 180 scouts. Those get into the 0.67 TTK. And other weapons like a high impact pulse, it's just massive damage. Like the list goes on. I encourage you to try it. And to get a feel for it, I do encourage you to go to that Europa boss, that little mini boss. See the window extension for yourself. Take a shot, kind of run around, take another shot. This is the most important one. That little window is going to go by. You're going to take your last shot, and then you're going to get Frenzy. Because when you're in game, nades are flying, you're getting hit, you're hitting them. You're getting scorched, whatever it is up. I'm telling you, especially right now. And once you do have Frenzy, it lasts for 6-7 seconds. And while Frenzy is on your screen, you have a new window. Every 7 seconds, you need to get hit or hit somebody, and you're gonna have all those buffs. It's great. The next perk, same style, Perfect Float. Just like Frenzy, don't be shy of Perfect Float. I have a great Perfect Float kill clip positive outlook. It cooks, like it just flat out cooks. Perfect Float is the same system, but cut in half. Instead of a 12-second timer, it's 6, and the window is 3. This perk just shows up. It's there with how the Sandbox is playing. And there'll be times like somebody's in the back with a Jade Rabbit. I'll get a shot on them. I'm like, okay, they got a scout. I'll back away into cover, let my health regen. They tap me with another shot. They're just giving me Frenzy for free, or Perfect Float for free. But Perfect Float, while you have it, plus 30 AE and 35% flinch resist for 10 seconds. Just like Frenzy, when you have Perfect Float up, take, deal damage, that 10 seconds refreshes. And 35 flinch resist is a big deal because you're going to take into account maybe a woven mail, a high resilience, a high stability on your weapon. It's flat out great, and it's doing really, really well right now. The last perk, I've always loved. There's certain weapons that I want you to try it on. It's Focus Fury. Again, primary sandbox. Not too many snipers. The shotgun play is usually right at the beginning of the map, then everybody's trying to get it with the primaries. But all you have to do is half of the base of your magazine needs to be a crit. Then you get 20% more damage for 11 seconds. But a lot of the time, that is going to be a TTK shift, a faster time to kill. And once you have Focus Fury up, it's going to loop back into another set of Focus Fury. Like the streak right here. I get the perk going, went on a streak. Since I'm dealing, those crits count too, and the timer's going to reset. Because many weapons are going to allow you to do the trick for Focus Fury. And that's going to be flat out a higher magazine. Because how it works is off of your base magazine. Just numbers, okay? Say a hand cannon has 12 shots, 6 of those need to be a crit. Once you land 6, Focus Fury is up. But if you have an extended mag, backup mag, or both get up to 15, 16 rounds in that magazine, you still only need 6 to proc it because the base mag is 12 and half of that is 6. So overflow is always great. I did a video on scalar potential, and the whole deal with that weapon, I talked about Focus Fury and the origin trait on how Dragon's Vengeance is constantly proccing and it's constantly just filling your mag back up. Well, you just land crits and Focus Fury is going to be there. But what's really cool, I've been having a lot of fun with, it's like a training wheels Focus Fury weapon. It's Last Right, Reconstruction Focus Fury. Now, you can also get this on Posterity. I don't have a craftable one or a good one, but with Reconstruction Focus Fury, this thing in this sandbox is great. It is fun. It is high damage. It's constantly reloading the magazine. Like seriously, throughout a match, I will never have to reload it. I never once reload it, and I will have multiple Focus Fury streaks because the base mag is 14. At any given time, after I land 7 crits, Focus Fury is up, and when it does proc, it's gonna get looped. Pretty much, no problem. And then I can add on things like Radiant. Started getting some 2 taps going. There's things that I do, but these weapons, these perks that I wanted to go through today are shining. They really are. In this sandbox, because for the most part, PvP, when you look at a weapon roll, like you really consider dueling, like a moving target in Eye of the Storm, or rapid hit, or lethality, like a kill clip. And these types of things, some of them are hybrids, like Frenzy's a hybrid. Like you get high handling, high reload, but you get damage. It's just that the perk trigger, like all of that was considered a back burner, wasn't really considered a playstyle. But right now, I'm having great games. Like the perks feel powerful. Like the most that they ever have. And again, it's all on that basis of more people having to use primary weapons. people needing to land crits, people needing primary kills to get special ammo, you having more health so your streaks for Frenzy and Focus Fury aren't ending off a Threadling hitting you, or just a grenade in general, like you're surviving it most of the time, you're keeping these perks and streaks alive. It's gonna be up to you, but I wanted to bring all this to your attention, give you some tips on certain perks, and I wanted to talk about it. It took a little while to put together, and if you're still here, I really appreciate your time. But let's talk about these and more things down below. What are your thoughts on it? And again, in your next playing session over the weekend, give some of these things a try. I think that you're going to be impressed. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.